Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is RandoGEEK. So, as you can see by this headline here, article from the telecompetitor, I'll link it for you down below in the description. There's also going to be a second link here. We're talking about T-Mobile ahead of AT&T and Verizon when it comes to 5G use where available. So, according to a report here from Ookla, which is basically what I want to cover, this I'll leave for you in the description below. You can read it on your own. It's more of a narrative. I want to cover this. So, this is the testing results based on what Ookla is saying gives T-Mobile the credibility for being best 5G in both rural and urban areas in the 50 US states. So, this is according to users that I guess allow for Ookla to track them and test, use them as an example of their testing. And this is what they're finding, that T-Mobile's got the most readily available 5G coverage in these states, and that, based on the competition, this is where customers want to be. They want to be with T-Mobile. They're getting the access to 5G coverage, and they're spending more time using their network than the competition. So there's a lot of reasons why they could be choosing T-Mobile, besides the fact that 5G coverage is available. They could enjoy their plans more. Maybe they have better benefits. Maybe they have hotspot. Maybe there's a whole bunch of reasons why they're choosing T-Mobile's network over the competition. But nonetheless, Ookla is taking it deeper. They're saying that T-Mobile has more 5G available in both urban and rural America. That's right. Dare I say rural America. So I know what a lot of people are going to say. Well, that's not true. T-Mobile isn't very good in rural America. Well, I don't know. Maybe things have changed. Of course, this testing supposedly is all the way from 2019 to 2024, according to this article. It says it's somewhere here. So we compared speed test users on 5G networks from the top 3 nationwide operators from 2019 to 2024. And the analysis shows T-Mobile's growth and its lead in the number of 5G users spending the majority of their time on its 5G network in both urban and rural markets, followed by AT&T, and then lastly Verizon. So, yeah, interesting enough. All right, so here's our testing results. Let's get right into it. So we got the top 5 states with the highest rural 5G availability from T-Mobile. So we have Florida with 83.58, Connecticut with 80.62, Illinois 80.49, Delaware 80.39, Georgia 80.18. Moving on to urban 5G from T-Mobile, we have Illinois at 91.86, Nevada 91.78, Oklahoma 91.77, Florida with 91.57, North Dakota with 91.30. So that's T-Mobile. This is the areas where they shine the most. So notice how there's, for me, Florida, and then Nevada, right? All right, so next up we have AT&T in rural 5G, Texas 78.17, Florida 75.24, Alabama 74.77, Louisiana 74.76, California 72.81%. So that's your rule for AT&T. Next up, urban 5G from AT&T, California 92.47, Florida 91.1, Nevada 90.92, Texas 89.91, and Louisiana 89.45. All right. Next up, we have Verizon. This is their rural 5G coverage. So they're leading in Ohio with 56.07, Arkansas is 44.51, Texas 43.09, New Jersey 41.8, and then Delaware with 40.56. Now, when we count urban 5G connectivity, we have Ohio again in the lead, 73.86, California 67.76, Nebraska 67.45, Arkansas 66.26, Arizona with 66.01. So they're saying there's a lack of 5G coverage in Wyoming. However, wherever there is 5G coverage, T-Mobile dominates in that area as well, leading in with 59.29%, Second place, AT&T with 29.73, and then Verizon with 9.8. Interestingly, they're basically saying that all three are good in Nevada. However, if you ask Ookla, based on testing, they're saying when it comes to urban 5G availability, T-Mobile has dominated that area as well, leading with 91.86, AT&T 90.92, and Verizon 63.38. Now, this will probably shock some of you because, as we know, the Las Vegas Strip, where we see a lot of testing, where Verizon shines brightly, we see that Verizon usually is just the bomb there. But, according to Ookla, they're not even in second place, let alone first place, when they break down the overall 5G coverage in urban Nevada. So I don't know, it's a little shocking to me. But then the only thing that can make sense to me is, well, on the Strip, that's where Verizon chose to deploy the majority of their spectrum, right? That's where they have their biggest build out. And as I said with the Super Bowl, any carrier that invests that much time and money and spectrum into one specific project will obviously test better than a carrier that's not built there, right? If T-Mobile's 4 miles away, or even 2 miles away, or even 1 mile away, and you're right outside, a hotel where Verizon's tower is like right above it, who do you think is going to perform better? Now, some people will say, well, that's why we like Verizon. They build where it matters. That's a hot area. That's a big strip. There's money. That's great for business. That's what customers want. Tourists, businesses, all of it. I get that. Looking at it from that point of view, you're certainly right. That is where it matters. You should have coverage there, 100%. But I'm just saying that, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're better in the sense that, the network performs better or anything. It just means that they're utilizing their network better. They're building in areas that they feel customers want availability. And I'm not arguing that. And I think T-Mobile should build more there. And I think AT&T should build more there as well. But I think for AT&T and T-Mobile, it's not on their to-do list, and you could say, well, that's why we don't like them. And again, that'd just be a matter of opinion. But it doesn't necessarily mean that Verizon's network is better. And I guess that's what this is trying to say, that, when you break down the overall actual coverage in urban Nevada, Verizon's not number one. It's not even number two. It's actually number three. And strangely enough, if you could believe it, like I said, T-Mobile is actually number one. When it comes to urban 5G availability in Illinois, T-Mobile is dominating that area, according to this as well. 91.78 from T-Mobile, AT&T 85.27, and then Verizon 62.5. So the key takeaway here is that, it's important for carriers to build in highly populated areas. It's smart. From a business standpoint, Verizon building and dominating at the Super Bowl makes sense, right? Because there's a lot of customers that could be on another network, maybe AT&T, for example. Maybe coverage isn't as good because everything surrounding that area is all about Verizon. But that doesn't mean that Verizon's really just a better network. It just means that they've built in an area that they feel is more important, that they feel customers might feel is more important. But when you really break it down, any carrier that invests that much in time and, dedication to deploy spectrum in that specific area, you're going to see good results. Some are saying that, well, they had no problem during the Super Bowl with T-Mobile. Were they actually there? I don't know. Maybe they're sitting in their living room watching the game. Who knows? So I'm not against the build outs, but you have to play fair. You have to break it down and you have to say what you mean and mean what you say, right? So you can't just say, well, Verizon builds at the Super Bowl, so T-Mobile sucks. Like, that's not fair. I mean, Yes, that's an important event to many, but it's not what a network is all about. Getting coverage day to day where it matters, like not just one event that you go to once a year. You know what I mean? So, like, I think that's basically what this is kind of telling us. But also, we kind of feel like T-Mobile's like the underdog when it comes to rural coverage. And for the most part, it is. But I think what we're starting to see is that they're doing better, at the very least, in rural America. And I don't know, I don't know how much I agree if they have the most 5G readily available in rural America. What I can tell you is based on my experience in areas where T-Mobile wasn't good when it comes to rural coverage. It's been better, a lot better. In some cases, it outperforms Verizon and AT&T, but that's just my experience. So I think what we can take from this is that we have a lot more to look forward to when it comes to T-Mobile's rural coverage. I think we'll continue to see it get better and better. And forget it. Once they purchase US Cellular, it's done. Like, they're going to be a lot better for many in those areas where US Cellular shines. So you can say, well, it's not a real build out. They're cheating. They're getting help. But guess what? Verizon wants access to that US Cellular coverage as well. And AT&T is just not that interested in it. They're doing it slow. You can say, well, they're doing it the right way and T-Mobile's cheating. It's not right. It's not good quality. Look, at the end of the day, according to these results, again, whether or not you believe it, T-Mobile 5G users are happy. They're staying on their phones longer. That's all we know right now, right? But again, at the end of the day, none of this matters if you can't pick up your phone and make a call and you're on T-Mobile and you live in a rural area. So that's why I say take this all with a grain of salt. But my message is that I think we'll continue to see better rural coverage with 5G coming soon, no matter how you slice it. Okay? Feel free to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts about this whole thing. What do you think about T-Mobile's 5G rural coverage? And what do you think about like the comparisons, like from these states? If you live in these states and you test, let's say you legit test, you get in your car, you drive around and you test. You don't just speculate. You've done testing. You can kind of back it up a little bit. Like, do you agree with this? Like, if you've pulled out all three carriers in, not the Strip in Nevada, somewhere in urban Nevada, away from the Strip, where Verizon isn't dominating, maybe a mile or two away, but still Nevada, still urban, and you did all three tests, who wins? That's the kind of results I'm looking for. Like, that's true coverage. That's true measurements of how a network performs. It's nice to see the speeds. It's exciting, it's thrilling, but it's not the most accurate way to pinpoint like how a network is going to be for you. Because if you were moving to Nevada, like, you're not going to live on a strip, and that's the same thing with the Super Bowl. You don't live at the stadium. You live in that state or that city. And that's what really like matters, right? Like the overall coverage in the entire area, not just one specific spot. As always, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.